What is up guys, welcome back to the channel, and as we are closing into the last week of this month, it is time for us to check out another episode of top 10 brand new completely free to play games you can play right now during the month of March. And I'm not just talking about small indie drops, we got massive update to big titles, brand new open world RPGs, competitive multiplayer games, even some hidden gems that most people completely missed on Steam. And of course guys, all of these games that I'm gonna mention today are completely free. You can simply go ahead and download them right now on Steam. So without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into number 10. Alright, starting with a very cool little indie first-person shooter that recently come out on Steam, and it is called System Purge. This one is a fun, fast-paced, old-school style shooter that feels inspired by the classic 90s style games, but of course with a bit of a modern-day roguelite elements. You're playing as a military unit that breaks free from AI control system, and the whole goal is to just go deeper and deeper into this underground facility while taking everything down in your way. Gameplay-wise, it's all about movement, shooting, and surviving as long as possible. You're running through randomly generated maps, killing enemies, collecting credits, ammo, and also grabbing items that boost your stat or give you special effects. You get a couple of weapons at the start, a pistol and a shotgun, but don't expect like AAA Call of Duty like gunplay. It's fine for an indie shooter. It is mainly a single play experience, and right now there is only one map in the game. Hopefully more expansion will come into the game. The game recently come out on Steam as a free to play early access title, so expect to feel a bit rough around the edges, but overall a pretty cool little indie shooter you can jump in right now for absolutely free. Metal Hunter is no doubt one of the most unique pick for our list today, and honestly you won't really find this style of games in 2026. This one is basically a retro style JRPG set in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, but instead of controlling characters like in a typical JRPG, you're also rolling around in tanks, hunting down monsters and criminals. It's kind of feel like that old school RPGs like Final Fantasy that you randomly discover and get hooked for hours. Gameplay wise, it got that classic turn-based combat, exploration and building your squad. You're traveling through this ruined world, taking on bounties, fighting enemies, and upgrading your characters and your vehicles. It is totally free to play and totally a single play experience, but with a very strong focus on progression and story. The story itself isn't like a super cinematic or anything. It got that classic RPG vibe where you're just slowly uncovering the world while you're getting stronger and taking tougher targets. It got a very pixelated top-down art style, super lightweight on requirement as well, and at the moment it's sitting on very positive reviews, so if you're a fan of RPGs, classic JRPGs, it's a nice free-to-play game to try out on Steam. Alright, moving on to a very interesting title that I kind of forgot to mention during the last couple of months or so, and that is UFL, especially the PC version. And we already knew that the console version is already out, which was launched back in December 2024. Now thankfully there is a fully playable PC version already came out, but unfortunately the game isn't available on Steam. If you go to the Steam page, it still says coming soon. The way you can download this game is from their official website with a direct launcher, but for anyone who don't know much about UFL, this one is basically trying to be the real competitor for FIFA and Konami's eFootball, being completely free to play and most importantly fair to play. The whole idea behind this fair to play meaning your success is based more on your skill rather than just spending money, so there will be no any pay to win elements. Gameplay wise, it's a classic football simulator with very impressive visuals, animation, character movement, but the main focus is on building your own club from scratch. You can sign real life players, upgrade your squad and compete online for both ranked and unranked play, so the long-term progression is something similar to FIFA's Ultimate Team. And as I previously mentioned, the PC version is currently you have to download through their own launcher instead of Steam, which might be a bit annoying, but it does support crossplay between PlayStation 5 and also Xbox Series consoles. When it comes to mode, it mostly multiplayer focus. You got ranked divisions, online matches, events and seasonal progression, plus there is always option to play against AI or local co-op with your friends. All in all, if you're a fan of soccer and you're looking for an alternative to your typical FIFA or EFC, this one is a great free-to-play option to try out right now on PC. At number 7 we get Alstan. It's kind of a hidden gem. It's a third-person action adventure game set in this really cool desert world, and the whole vibe is heavily inspired by Amsi and Thura creatures, which you don't really see that often in video games. You play as a warrior who's basically cursed with this mark of the desert giving you sand powers, but at the same time it's slowly turning you into the very monster you are hunting. Gameplay wise, it got that mix of fast-paced combat and exploration. You're fighting off enemies like corrupted spirits and dungeons, while also climbing, sliding across across sand and exploring ruin in this semi-open world environment. The sand powers are actually a big part of the gameplay too. You can use them for attack, movement and traversal, so it's not just about basic sword fighting. It is a completely single play experience, very story driven compared to some of the other games on the list, but don't expect like AAA graphics or cinematics. It's actually made by a student, which is really impressive. Definitely a very cool little indie adventure game you can jump in right now. Alright, moving on at number 6, we got Metal Goose, and don't let the name fool you, this one is actually a really fun, chaotic, fast-paced boomer shooter, but with a completely unhinged twist. In this game, you're basically playing as a super soldier in a full-on war between geese and chickens. Yeah, I know it sounds pretty dumb, but it's actually really fun to play. Gameplay is where it's really shine, and it's definitely inspired from all the games like Doom and of course games like Ultra Kill, so expect super fast movement, aggressive combat, and a mix of guns plus melee attacks. You gotta constantly dashing around, dodging enemies and chaining attacks together, and the cool part is how weapons interact with each other, letting you pull off some crazy combos once you get the hang of it. There is no deep story here, it's more about there is a war and you gotta destroy everything, and honestly it kind of fit the game perfectly. Right now it is a single player only experience and it's available as an early access title on Steam, so the game's still being developed and more content coming later. All in all, a fun little chaotic boomer shooter. Can be a bit rough around the edges, the graphics and some of the animation, but overall a fun game to jump in right now. Alright, moving on from fast-paced action shooters to a simple little cozy chill experience. Next up we got Up Creek. And as I said, this one is basically a super chill, cozy little game where you just walk around in the nature park and just clean the trash. It sounds pretty simple and that's kind of the whole point of the game. It's meant to be super relaxing and not stressful at all. Gameplay wise, it's more of a first-person exploration, walking simulator kind of experience, mixed with a bit of a light puzzle elements as well. You're exploring this place called Blue River Park, picking up trash, interacting with objects and just slowly restoring the environment. There is also a bit of a sandbox kind of feel, no strict rules, you can just take your time or even speed run if you want. It's a pretty short experience as well, will take you around half an hour to complete, and it filled with small details, hidden secrets and just wholesome moments. It is single player experience, no multiplayer or co-op, completely free to play on Steam and also super lightweight, so the game can run on almost anything, so it's perfect for low-end PCs as well. Alright, moving on to one of the most ambitious brand new game that literally came out a few days ago, and that is the Cube Save Us. It's a free-to-play third-person extraction shooter, kind of a mix between survival games and something like Escape from Tarkov, but with more action-heavy, almost melee-focused combat style. The whole backstory is pretty interesting. The world got basically destroyed after this mysterious giant cube appeared in the sky, and now the survivors enter this cube to find resources and try to make it out alive. Gameplay-wise, it's about high-risk runs. You go into this randomly changing environment like cities, pyramids, even random weird locations, fight mutants, other players and grab loot, and ultimately try to escape before lose everything. I did not really enjoy the combat at first, it just felt like series of button smashing, but once you get more weapons and more upgrades, it gets a bit interesting, and if you go to the Steam page right now, you will see truckload of negative reviews about the game. That is mainly due to some of the performance issues that the game have right now, which is something to keep in mind before jumping in. As I said, this is a multiplayer focused game with both PvP and PvE elements, meaning you're dealing with both AI enemies and real players at the same time. There is also online co-op mode, so you can squad up with your friends at the same time. The game just launched into early access on Steam. Right now it is completely free to play, but it's a bit rough around the edges, so I feel like the game it still needs tons of improvements, which is something to keep in mind. Moving on to one of the biggest releases of the month, especially if you're into anime-style RPG games, this one is called The 7 Deadly Sins Origin. It's a full open-world action RPG, kinda like Genshin Impact vibes, but of course set in the 7 Deadly Sins universe. Gameplay-wise, it is pretty stacked. You got a massive open world to explore, fight monsters, and do side activities like fishing, cooking, crafting, and even discover hidden dungeons and secrets. It got real-time action combat, and the cool part is you can actually build team of characters and switch between them mid-fight to pull off crazy combos and special abilities. It is not just single player either. The game supports online co-op and multiplayer, so you can explore and fight bosses with friends, which is a big plus. But at the same time, if you want the traditional single player experience, you can still play fully solo, so you can focus more on the story side. And now the game is fully out on PC, consoles, and also available on the mobile, so the game is pretty accessible no matter what platform you're playing on. And also I have to say the game is pretty popular on Steam right now, having close to like 40,000 daily concurrent players. So overall, if you're into anime RPGs and looking for something new to play, this is a very good option to try out on the free-to-play market. Alright, at number 2, we got the brand new Call of Duty Black Ops Royale. Well, technically this isn't a brand new game, but honestly feel like one. It's a massive update to the Call of Duty Warzone, basically introduced a whole new mode called Black Ops Royale, and it completely changed how the game plays. So normally in Warzone, you got loadouts, buy station, gulag, all those sort of stuff, but in this new mode, everything is stripped back. There is no loadout, no gulag, no buy station. You drop in with basically nothing, then you have to loot everything from the ground, which gives you that old school Blackout vibe. Gameplay wise, it is still a battle royale, but feels more intense and unpredictable. You're dropping into this new map called Avalon with 100 players, scavenging weapons, upgrading them through rarity, and just try to survive till the end. There is also new mechanics like redeploy token instead of gulag, special high task event for better loot, and also even some zombie style encounters in certain areas, which is kind of wild. And this mode officially dropped mid-March as a part of the huge seasonal update, and it's clearly meant to bring back players by giving them more classic skill-based battle royale experience. I haven't really got the time to properly jump into this new mode yet, but I'm jumping as soon as I can. But of course the game comes with that 200 gigs massive download. To download it again, it's kind of annoying, but it's totally free to play, available on pretty much all major platforms. So if you're someone who already playing this new mode, what do you think about it? Drop it down in the comment section. Alright, at number 1 spot, we got a brand new game that dropped out of nowhere, and that is eBaseball Pro Spirit. It is a free-to-play baseball simulation style of a game from Konami, and it's way more realistic than I expect from a free game. The game actually dropped early March, kinda like a shadow release, and right now it is available on PC and also on PlayStation 5. The gameplay wise, it's all about realism, and the game actually run on their new eBaseball engine, so things like pitching, batting and ball physics, everything feels super grounded and simulation heavy. You're not just hitting randomly, you actually have to time your swings properly, read pitches and play smart baseball. When it comes to game mode, they're actually decent mix. The main one, of course, the World Championship, where you can build your own team and compete against players online in rank matches. Then you also got exhibition mode, which is more chill. You can play solo and practice. There's also team edit system, which you can build and customize your team within certain limits, which add a bit of a strategy to the overall gameplay. The game is both single player and multiplayer, but let's be real, the main focus is of course on the PvP multiplayer. One thing to note is that this one does not use real licensed teams or players, so everything is kind of generic, but honestly the gameplay and the realism carry it enough that you don't really mind it after a while. Overall, this one feels like a super underrated free-to-play sports game that quietly drop and surprise everyone, so go ahead and download and try it yourself. Well, there you have it guys, these are some of the best brand new free-to-play games you can play right now in March 2026. Honestly, we got a pretty solid mix of both big releases and some hidden indie gems, so definitely try out a few and see what stick with you. And as always guys, if you enjoyed the video and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe and stay tuned to the channel as we cover pretty much all brand new game releases on every single month. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you guys in the next one.